Welcome to the Friday show. I'm Paulick Report bloodstock editor Joe Nevills, trying my very best to fill in for Ray Paulick. And I'm joined today by news editor Chelsea Hackbarth. Chelsea, thanks for being on with us today.
Absolutely.
So we're going to tell some stories today. Chelsea has worn many hats, as one might say. She's been our news editor for 6 years, but she's also worked at tracks around the country. She's worked at Beulah Park. She's worked at Prairie Meadows. She's worked at Churchill Downs, and she's ponied some of your favorite horses. You've probably seen her on TV in some of the major events and post parades and such. So Chelsea works as a pony rider in various tracks around Kentucky. And I'm curious, Chelsea, first off, in case people aren't aware of what your job entails, what does your job entail there?
So the job of the pony person is to escort the racehorse to the starting gate in as calm and safe a manner as possible with a 1,200-pound animal that is sitting on go. So it can be a bit of a challenge every now and again.
And how do you get kind of booked or signed these horses? How do you kind of end up with the horses that you've gotten over the years?
So the trainers are responsible for booking the pony people. As far as the international horses I've worked with, though, those all go through the International Racing Bureau, and I've been lucky enough to work with them through my best friend on the racetrack, Fifi. She is the first person who gave me a shot at Churchill Downs, and she is the kind of person who will do absolutely anything for you. So she's a good friend to have in your corner, but probably not someone you want to give a microphone to also.
Oh boy. So you have ponied during some of the biggest events on the calendar. You've done Derby on the track. You've done 3 or 4 helping horses in the mornings. You've also done some Breeders' Cups. One of the biggest horses that you've had the honor and privilege of working with, of course, Enable, 2-time European Horse of the Year. Had her during the 2018 Breeders' Cup Turf at Churchill Downs, which she won. Tell us about your time with Enable. What was it like to, sort of be, kind of responsible for arguably the best horse in the world?
I should have been nervous, probably, but I have a pony that I really trust, and the guys that came over with her, especially Tony Proctor, are so good. He gave me specific instructions. She'd never seen a pony before, so we just sort of introduced her to it very calmly and slowly. And she is a whole other class of animal. She's brilliant, and just she's like, oh, I can go next to you, and I can nibble on you a little bit. This is great. I like this. So
go ahead.
It was so cool to be. I mean, she just knew, and as soon as she walked out of the quarantine area, everybody yelled, "Here comes the queen!" Just all the media and the fans were there on the backside, and she walked up to me, and I got to pet her. I try not to fangirl too much in front of the connections, but it was really hard not to.
I can't say I blame you. I'd probably be in the same spot if I were in your spot too. So I imagine this is something you have to do pretty regularly when you're dealing with the European horses, just getting them used to the act of being ponied in the first place.
Yeah, some of them don't want you to actually hold on to the horse, but with Enable, she had a tendency to get a little high on herself every now and again. So we taught her how to be held onto next to the pony, and so that she was okay with that. And it came in handy because one morning we were trying to go out on the turf course, and there were people still galloping on the inside rail on the dirt, and she was mad that she was not getting to go yet. And she about ran over Tony.
Oh boy.
Trying to get away from me. And I love the image of this moment because my face and the pony's face are both just really, but my heart at that moment was just losing itself inside my chest. I was like, please don't let me lose hold of this horse in front of all of these people. Don't let me lose control of the nicest horse on the planet. This would be really bad.
No pressure. No,
none whatsoever.
Now, did you have her during the race too, during the post parade?
I did actually. I took off covering the races for Ray.
It's okay. We forgive you.
and took her myself so that we didn't want to change anything on her.
Right.
She liked me. She liked the pony. Everybody was happy. So I got to take her, and Frankie was making me laugh in the post parade. Frankie Dettori, the jockey, he was telling me how he was like messing in his pants and stuff because he was so nervous because he didn't want to mess up and make her lose.
Mm-hmm.
So it was unreal.
And that's crazy because, Frankie comes over here to win Breeders' Cup races. This should be old hat for him. So to have a horse that sort of special to him that he's, still nervous, getting in the irons for is really something special.
Yeah, he loved her. I mean, the funniest thing he told me was that he loves her more than his wife because she actually makes him money. So, I think he was joking.
Now, did you get to bring her back after she won too?
No, but I did hop off the pony and go give her connections a big hug. So
outstanding.
That was fun.
So another big international horse that you've worked with, two-time Dubai World Cup winner, Thunder Snow. What was your responsibilities with him? And, tell us a little bit about Thunder Snow.
Thunder Snow is a totally different type of animal than Enable. She was really smart and really calm and used her intelligence to please the people around her. Thunder Snow used his intelligence to mess with the people around him. He is all colt. So the job with him, and he was one that I didn't hold on to. I just went next to him because he is very manly and we didn't want him to jump on the pony or me. So rather than keeping or cueing his interest in that direction, we tried to make it just, oh, look, follow the happy pony, not this is a toy. So I actually worked with him for about a month before the Breeders' Cup in 2018. Just every morning, 9 a.m., which was nice for me because I didn't have to get up so early.
Exactly.
Really appreciated that from those connections. But I mean, he knew exactly what was expected of him. And some mornings he was a very good boy, and some mornings he really wanted to play. And on race, I got to take him in the classic that year as well. And on race day, he was game, and he had his game face on, and I just knew he was going to run big. So I was glad I'd snuck a bet in on him.
How different do you find the horses tend to be from the mornings to the afternoon in terms of, from your vantage point?
It all depends on the horse, but the ones that have done it a couple times tend to know the deal, and a lot of them will get a little proud of themselves, a little bouncy on the way to the starting gates. Some are an absolute nervous wreck. That's what you don't want to see. Mm-hmm. And then some, like I've watched some of the post parades, like of Monomoy Girl. I have not touched her, but I would love to. But she just walks to the gate like an absolute queen. Mm-hmm. So just calm, quiet, knows exactly why she's there, why she's supposed to be there. She's supposed to do the things. So it's fun to watch the different personalities come out.
From a handicapping perspective, has that ever kind of helped you a bit, like just watching the horses in the post parade from a pony rider's perspective and knowing kind of, what to look for, what not to look for?
Well, I can't, there's not usually enough time to sneak in a bet between the moment I let go of the horse and the moment the starting gates open.
Fair point.
But, I mean, yeah, if I'm watching the races on TV, especially, I'm definitely looking to see how they're acting in the post parade. You don't want to see one that's, generally speaking, you don't want to see one that's like slicked up with sweat and running sideways and just running their race before the race.
Mm-hmm. So I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up arguably the most famous pony horse, if not in America, perhaps even the planet. I'm talking about Harley, the American Sugarbush Harlequin Draft, a big, beautiful horse that's on the Kentucky circuit. And I understand you have a little bit of experience with him yourself.
I actually got to ride Harley.
That's so exciting.
It was one of the highlights of my track career. When he was 3 and Monty first brought him on the track, he needed some practice standing on the track and just relaxing and just sort of watching the things going on and not getting excited. So I got to ride him for about a month in the mornings, just doing stable pony type work, walking back and forth from the racetrack with different horses. And I also got to gallop him a little bit, and he is incredibly smooth. You would not believe it, as big as he is, but it's like sitting on a recliner going around the racetrack. It's amazing how smooth he is for how huge he is.
Yeah, that's, I've grown up with, draft horses myself, and every once in a while we'd ride them. And, it's a different kind of ride from a smaller horse, but it is often a smoother ride. It's surprising. You would, like you said, you'd think it would be much rougher because it's not a smooth striding like a thoroughbred or more of a racing breed, but it's a bigger horse is a decent ride.
It was pretty cool. Very grateful that Monty let me experience Harley, because I don't think anyone else sits on him anymore. I think she keeps him to herself.
He's a pretty special horse. I don't blame anyone that would want to keep him to themselves.
Absolutely.
So you've also ponied in, the 2014 Kentucky Derby, probably the most visible race that you've ever ponied for, I would imagine. The eyes of the world are on you in the post parade, the eyes of NBC or whoever was broadcasting the race at that point. Any nerves?
Oh, so many nerves.
And by the way, I forget if I mentioned you had Uncle Si in that race. So that was
Uncle Si. So he was the 3 horse. We were 2 in front of California Chrome, who was the 5. So of course, most of the attention was behind me, thankfully. But it was also Irad Ortiz's first Derby on Uncle Si. And so he was nervous and I was a little nervous. And then there's this moment when my old Kentucky home finishes playing, and you're walking down the racetrack at Churchill Downs with 160,000 people staring at you. And all of a sudden, as soon as the song ends, they all scream at the same time. And it is this deafening roar. And most of the racehorses don't care for that.
I would imagine not, no.
But we actually stuff cotton in the ponies' ears that day so that they don't react to the noise. Because it's just an amazing amount of sound that I've never heard anything like it. And there's never been a moment like that in my life where I was like, wow, this is happening. This is real.
And that's the crazy thing. Like, I've watched plenty of derbies from on the track surface, but I also have my back to the crowd. Like, they are singing this song and they are cheering at you. And that has to be a completely different feeling, a completely different sort of reception of the sound. It is.
It's all that sound is directed at you. Or probably, 2 horses behind me, actually. But man, and then as soon as we put the horses in the starting gate for the Derby, we all have to gallop backwards really fast to get out of the way, because where the starting gate is and where the gates used to be, to get off the racetrack. So then we couldn't even see the race, or just the part of the far turn. And I'm like, well, this is. I want to know who won. Darn it! I could see Uncle Si was in front for a little bit.
Yeah,
but I assumed he probably didn't stay there, and he didn't.
Oh well. Do you get any kind of special instructions for the Derby in particular, either from the trainer or from whoever's sort of organizing everything, because it's just such a unique experience compared to any other race that's happening?
Yes. So the trainers don't get a ton of say until after the post parade is over, because the outriders are in charge, and you have to do something different. You have to walk almost a quarter of a mile backwards from the wire all the way to the quarter pole. So almost the entire length of the stretch. And you have to walk that whole distance. Normally in the post parade, you walk about a 16th of a mile, maybe. So you're doing the walking because the NBC camera is on the ground next to the horses, filming each one individually over the course of the time they're singing My Old Kentucky Home. And so, the ponies are not used to that, and the racehorses are definitely not used to having to walk that long. So it's a huge deal to keep everybody quiet and calm, and this is okay. Everybody's fine. So you're just talking to your racehorse, trying to make sure that they're not getting in front of your pony. They're not, going to run sideways over the camera guy. Or you're not getting too close to the horse in front of you, or the horse behind you isn't getting too close to you. So you have to watch your pace and judge how fast you're walking. And then as soon as the outrider lets you go, when NBC has filmed the 20th horse, then you do a warm up, and the trainer has given you instructions for the warm up. So you have plenty of instruction there, and then the jockey will have some ideas as well, generally.
As they usually do, yes.
And then you line back up in order to go back to the starting gate.
Boy, it just seems like such a high pressure situation, but I appreciate, it's always good to hear insight like this. You don't often hear about kind of that side of things. So always cool to hear. I appreciate you, sharing these stories, and, stick around, because up next we have our Star of the Week.
Quarters, 112 flat. The leader is Sister is Devil. Off the turn on top of length and a quarter. R10 Angels takes her shot on the outside second. Not Tonight Bobby is third. BC Bell is fourth, with Sister is Devil less than an eighth from home. Sister is Devil 2 on top. Not Tonight Bobby tries to get R10 Angels for second. Here's Not Tonight Bobby late on the scene. Sister is Devil wins. Sister is Devil holds off Not Tonight Bobby and beats her neck. Third was R10 Angels, 142-1.
So our Star of the Week this week is Sister is Devil, a 3-year-old daredevil filly who broke her maiden in a Gulfstream Park maiden claiming race on March 25th. So why is this horse a maiden claimer, the Star of the Week? Because A, she's running today in the 3rd race at Gulfstream Park, and B, she was a weanling to yearling pinhook by our very own Chelsea Hackbarth and her business partner, Steph Settles, who we have here today. Thanks for being on, Steph.
Of course.
So Sister is Devil was purchased for $2,000 as a short yearling at the Keeneland January sale in 2019. Pinhooked for $11,000 at Keeneland September 2019, just a few short months later. So whoever wants to take this first, tell me a little bit about Sister is Devil. What made her an attractive horse to purchase in the first place?
Do you want to take the lead on that, Chelsea?
Well, Steph was at the sale with Hermitage, and so I was running around taking pictures of different yearlings, and then I would run back to Hermitage's barn and show her the pictures, and then I would run out and look at different horses. And the first time I showed her a picture of this filly, she was like, "That one, that's the one I want." I was like, you haven't even zoomed in?" She's like, "Nope, that's it." So
when you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And, for and I know it was Chelsea's first pinhook. Was it first for you too, Steph?
It was.
So it had to be pretty nerve-wracking to, even though it was a, $2,000 purchase, not a big one by any means in the grand scheme of things, but it had to be, quite a big risk to hope to turn that around into profit.
I mean, it was a big risk, but I think it's something that we had talked, Chelsea and I and a couple other people had talked about doing for over a year. So when we were finally at the moment, after all the months of preparation and research and going through the books and setting our parameters and what we wanted, it was so exciting to finally find one that checked the boxes and to actually get her. It's just a thrill.
So now that you've got this, you've signed the ticket, $2,000, the horse is yours. What are the steps that you're looking to do in the months that you have Sister is Devil to improve her physically, mentally, emotionally, to make her an attractive sale horse for that following Keeneland September sale?
Well, at the point when we got her, we were out of a barn together at the Oldham County, Jefferson County line. And the method that we used was a lot of turnout time and a lot of exposure to different things.
Good.
Namely geese, dogs, a goat. There were
kids.
A lot of things.
Kids.
Lots of kids.
Lots of kids, bikes, dog. I mean, just anything you can imagine. She was exposed to a lot of it. And lots of walking. Hand walking, ponying. Lots and lots of walking.
Mm-hmm.
We took her down to the Ohio River, and she loved to watch the jet skis go by. She would just stand there and just watch them. It was adorable.
So that kind of leads into the next thing I'm curious about. Just what was her disposition through all of this? What was, how was she like to handle?
She was the sweetest you could have hoped for. And I don't know how much of it's been like posted and who knows what. I was pregnant throughout the entire process. And like, I literally gave birth 3 weeks before we sold her in September and was hands-on the entire time. And she couldn't have been better to deal with. Just super sweet. I think
she liked you better. She liked you better than me because she kind of looked at me like, all right, I'll do what you're asking, but I'm not happy about it.
She had a reason to be nicer to me. Yeah, I was going to say, she had a reason to be nicer to me. I had those mama hormones.
And as things were kind of developing, what were some things that she really jumped up and improved on in the time that you had her? Like, tell me about like physical growth. What really did she do best for you?
I think she had a great walk from day one. And I know at several points she would shoot up in the front or the back, as yearlings tend to do. And this one over here was very concerned. She'll even out. Give her a couple weeks. She'll even out. And that was the main thing. And then she took to every type of handling really, really well. So she was never skittish, but she took to being groomed on, brushed on, handled by different people. Baths was no worry at all to give a bath to. Just everything. Trailering, she improved quite a bit. Everything you could ask her to do to get, to the next part of the sales process, she just handled beautifully. You want to add to that at all? Sorry.
No, I mean, we just treated her like one of the riding horses, basically. I mean, we're like, this is what is expected of you. And she just jumped right in and fell in line. So,
hey, that's all you can hope for.
It's true.
So we get to sale time. All of the work is done. It's time to get the horse in the ring. Tell me about your experience there. Nerves, confidence. What's going through your minds and hearts here?
So many nerves. So many nerves. It was awful. I hated every second of that part of it.
Chelsea was a wreck the entire time. Thankfully, I've taken a lot of horses through the ring, not on my own, but for other farms. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, okay, we're gonna take her to the consignor. They're gonna show her. They're gonna take her through this ring and then that ring. And I'm like talking her through the whole thing. And I felt like I was talking this one off a cliff because she was a nervous wreck.
Like, the horse. Let's just take her home.
The filly handled it like a pro. She acted like she had done it every day of her life, which was just fantastic. But I mean, actually getting to see her go through the ring, we had a whole cheering squad like with us throughout the entire walk, which looked kind of ridiculous for a book filly. But I mean, I think everybody really enjoyed the process and definitely the day of and getting her to go in the ring and, improve upon her price and do well.
Yeah, that's the thing. Sorry, go ahead, Chelsea.
No, it's just really cool. Like Ray and Carol and Natalie and Joe and a couple of our partners and my parents all and your Steph's husband all came out and we were all just following her around the sales ring. It was pretty cute.
It was entertaining as kind of the quasi-official photographer of the whole endeavor. It was fun just like watching you guys go from place to place and getting the crew of people everywhere. That was entertaining.
And me not being able to stand still.
Yeah, you were a wiggle worm for sure.
That's okay. Whenever one of my family's horses raced, I would never be able to hold still. So I imagine it's a very similar feeling of just pent-up nervous energy. Mm-hmm. So ended up selling for $11,000. What was kind of your wheelhouse? Where did you think she was going to sell roughly going into the sale?
Steph was lower than I was. I thought we would get 9 at least, and I was tickled to get 11. So I mean, obviously you hope for more than that, but realistically, my consigners, Tommy Eastham and his wife Wendy, were fabulous. They gave us an exact range that she was going to go for, and so we knew what to expect. And I mean, I was still a nervous wreck even knowing what to expect, but they held my hand very well the whole time also.
Yeah.
So she's raced several times now, Sister is Devil. What's the, even before she won, she's raced quite a few times now. What's the experience been like knowing that this is a horse that you've physically had your hands on, that you had a role in kind of getting to this point? What's it felt like to have that horse kind of out there doing things?
I think
surreal.
It's been thrilling. Yeah, just unreal. And I mean, when you have connections to a lot of horses in the industry, as all of us do, it's nail biting when you see one that you know personally every time they race, because you want it to go so well and you want them to succeed. And with her, especially, just knowing how she is to be with, it's just so exciting every time she goes on the track and performs. It's just, indescribable.
It was also nerve-wracking for me to watch her race. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a nervous person, I guess. But it did take her, 11 tries to break her maiden. So every time she raced, I was just pulling up the race, kind of watching it through my fingers.
But she got there. She did it.
She did.
Yes.
She did. She tried
That's
really
amazing.
hard. Thank you, Elizabeth Dobles, for your patience.
Yes.
We appreciate it.
Yes, exactly. Finally got the job done, got that win. Where did you guys watch the race, and how, what were the conversations after that once you finally got in that winner's circle?
I was at home.
Okay. I think we both missed it and didn't catch it until the next week.
No.
Actually.
Yeah.
Because that was the week before all those Derby preps, and so obviously I was pretty busy with that. But man, when I pulled up her record just to check on her, I was like, she won a race. She won a race. So of course the first thing I did is text Steph 1,000 times in a row. She just made her phone blow up. So.
I'm taking care of my daughter, and I have like 47 text messages. I'm like, what is happening?
Did something bad happen? What's going on?
But no, once we like actually watched it and sat down, I mean, I cried. I don't know about her, but like I was like, I can't believe she did it. And then of course texting back and forth, all caps, exclamation point, she did it, it's so great. You know.
I've never
As
been
one
that
does.
excited about a $16,000 claimer in my life.
Hey,
first time for everything.
exactly. Well, I can't wait to see how she does today. If you're paying attention at home, that horse is Sister is Devil. She drew the outside post, number 7, in today's third race at Gulfstream Park. And now let's close things out with a toast to Vino Rosso, the Breeders' Cup Classic winning son of Curlin, standing at Spendthrift Farm. This week, we've got a colt from the debut crop of Vino Rosso out of the E. Dubai mare Ponya. He was born on February 22nd, bred in Kentucky by Dr. Charles Kidder. Fun page on this one. He's a half to stakes place Majestic Edge, and he comes from the family of a pair of French Group 1 winners, including French St. Leger winner Agent Double. The direct female line traces back through French breds for most of the previous century, starting in the 1920s, and some of those branches have had success in Japan as well. Vino Rosso's sire Curlin has had some successful crosses with heavy international pedigrees, and it's going to be interesting to see if this young stallion is able to replicate that success. Colts like this will let us know pretty quickly. And that's our toast to Vino Rosso. Thanks to Spendthrift Farm for their support of our program. And that's it for this week's episode of The Friday Show. If you liked what you saw, I'd love it if you gave it a like, shared this video, or subscribe to the Paulick Report YouTube channel. Every little bit helps keep us do what we're doing, and we appreciate it. On behalf of Chelsea and Steph, everyone stay safe out there, and thanks for stopping by.